Don't let one bad leg haunt your parlay. Parlays turn into payouts, and now even near misses won't haunt your bet. The NFL season is here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is rewriting the rules with Ghost Leg, a new game-changing promotion that turns close calls into cold, hard cash. Best of all, it's available to all DraftKings customers. Here's how it works. Build any 3+ leg pregame NFL parlay on Sunday, apply your Ghost Leg token, and if one leg loses, DraftKings makes it vanish like it never existed and pays you out in cash for the rest. Last season, over 30 million parlays were lost by a single leg. This year, Ghost Leg gives those busted bets a second life. No more busted parlays that haunt you all season. With Ghost Leg, the bad leg vanishes. The payout doesn't. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code PFF. That's code PFF to unlock Ghost Leg, the promotion that makes one bad leg disappear and pays you out in real cash. Ghost your losses, get your payout in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. All right. The final game of our Week 3 preview is a fun one. We got Duke at Tulane.
The Mensa Bowl.
The Mensa Bowl. 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. Because you just mentioned right there, this is the return of Darian Mensah. Duke quarterback Darian Mensah makes his return this Saturday to Tulane, the school he transferred from this offseason after the Blue Devils made him a Godfather NIL offer of $8 million over 2 years. He and Duke are looking to bounce back this weekend. They lost to number 11 Illinois last week, 45-19 in week 2, a game where Duke had 4 turnovers in that game. Tulane, meanwhile, is looking for a signature victory over its former quarterback as one of the top group of 5 playoff contenders right now. So you got a Duke team looking to bounce back and Darian Mensah looking to beat his former school, and a Tulane team trying to get revenge on Darian Mensah for leaving and also getting a big win for its playoff resume.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you got Duke, and really Duke, we watched that game against Illinois, beat themselves last week.
Yeah.
And yes, Illinois earned it, we are aware. But there is also a part where you turn the ball over 5 times, and there's, I'm sure Manny Diaz went to his team and said, listen, that ain't us. Okay, you can't win any game. You can't beat Tulane. You couldn't beat, U.S. name it anybody with 5 turnovers and as many mistakes as they made in that game. So I expect Duke to come out and play better, but Tulane's really good. They got a really good defense. I think the secondary's awesome. Jake Retzloff, that hasn't been there long, but he's played reasonably well through these first 2 games, and they're 2-0. They beat a game South Alabama team last week on the road. They really dominated Northwestern in week 1. They beat them, I believe it was 23-3. So I think Tulane's got a foundation with their offensive line, with their defense. They just need Retzloff, and I think the passing game especially to come together. And you mentioned USF as the group of 5 favorite. This is another one because they already beat Northwestern. And if you get a win over Duke, who knows? And they're going to Ole Miss next week. Tulane's just loading up these out. They must have heard the committee about these quality wins because they put plenty of Power 5 teams on their schedule.
So we actually interviewed new Tulane quarterback Jake Retzloff last year while he was at BYU. And one of the answers he gave us, Dalton, is that he doesn't like blitzes very much. He likes when defenses sit back in coverage. He could read the defense out. That could be a problem considering how often Manny Diaz blitzes.
And this is really the same thing we talked about with Duke against Illinois last week. And when the blitzes got home and they got him in obvious passing situations, they were working. Yeah. Manny Diaz knows what he's doing, especially with these zone blitzes. And for Retzloff, that has always kind of been one issue. He even mentioned to us that it's because it changes the look, right? Mm-hmm. Basic defenses, cover 3, cover 4, cover 1, whatever. They have their basic structure, really, regardless of, there's a little tweak slide here and there when it comes to whatever formations, 2x2, 3x1. But when you talk about sending these zone blitzes and certain guys coming, certain guys dropping off, you don't know who's rotating where, it does muddy the picture, even though there's less defense. You would think, okay, there's more space, so throw it to the bigger windows. Well, you don't know where the windows are at, so it does make it harder, and it's exactly what Manny Diaz does to you. Jake Retzloff in his career against blitzes, 45.6 passing grade, 62% adjusted completion, 2 big-time throws, and 19 turnover-worthy plays. It's just and the last 5 games of last year when BYU's offense started to slow down, it was those 5 teams, they started to see this and they ratcheted up the blitz rates, right? It was a certain percentage. I think it was maybe 35 or so, somewhere in there, their first 7 games of the year. And then from there on, they started heating it up. They said, you know what, we're going to get them. And Tulane, look, they've got a good experienced offensive line. I believe it's 4 starters that return on their offensive line this year. They're going to have to pick these things up, and Retzloff's going to have to be more comfortable with pressure coming at him because, look, I know Tulane's going to want to run the ball. They're going to want to play defense. They're going to want to play complementary football. But the same exact thing. And what was Illinois' pass blocking grade last week? Like a 36?
Yeah.
That happens in this game, there's a bigger problem. Because Luke Altmaier did a great job last week of getting the ball out at certain times and keeping himself clean. Retzloff really needs to do the same thing. It would help a lot. I'm sure they watched it, obviously, because it's their opponent. But to watch what Altmaier did last week against this team and keeping his cool and just finding those windows, Retzloff needs to do that. If Tulane gets in obvious passing situations, again, we're going to say it the same thing second week in a row. I think advantage Manny Diaz, advantage Duke, because Retzloff is so uncomfortable when things are not standard, when extra pressure is coming at him. The one thing I will say, he's using his legs a lot right now. 188 rushing yards through 2 games for Retzloff. And I don't remember him here and there at BYU, and he's a good athlete, we know, but he's using them more often. And I think playing at this G5 level, you're going to see Retzloff run the ball a lot. Maybe he beats it with his legs this week, but he's never really been comfortable with all those different blitzes coming at him.
So really, it's the same exact matchup for me for the other quarterback in Darian Mensah. How will John Summerall, the Tulane head coach, defensive-minded head coach, how will he defend his former quarterback? Because he has a distinct advantage over Darian Mensah that no other coach will have over Mensah. And the fact that he saw Mensah every day in the Duke facility all of last year, or in the Tulane facility all of last year, and he knows his strengths and his weaknesses too. Darian Mensah has been absolutely outstanding this year when defenses give him time to work in the pocket. He has a 93.8 passing grade when kept clean. That's second among all quarterbacks in college football. 91.5 passing grade when defenses don't send a blitz. That's third in all of college football. Far more issues, though, when defenses try to speed him up. He's 101st in the country in passing grade under pressure, and he's 42nd in the country when defenses blitz him too. He only has a 40.2 passing grade under pressure. Again, that's outside the top 100 in college football. Tulane last year was 34th in America in blitz rate at over 40%, which helped them be 31st in pressure rate at about 36%. John Summerall, the Tulane head coach, might dial up those blitzes a little bit more because he knows how good Darian Mensah is when he's kept clean and when defenses don't blitz him. He's far more average, if not below average, well below average, when defenses get him under pressure and when he's blitzed.
And you're talking about throwing into a really good Tulane secondary. They picked off Preston Stone 4 times, much to my chagrin, with the upset picks. South Alabama, it was, they played another solid game. Look, Javion White, 90 coverage grade. Kevin Adams, 88 coverage grade. Jaheim Johnson, 79. I mean, they've got guys who can play in this secondary. They don't give up a lot of explosives through the air. So Mensah, we saw a couple of throws that got away from him, and the turnovers started flowing, especially when he was under pressure. You can't have that on this side either. Tulane right now is 12th in the nation in coverage grade. This is a dangerous secondary. They know how to keep things in front of them. They're going to sit back and wait for you to throw into the teeth of it. So at both quarterbacks, it's a weird level of pressure in this game because it's now the best. I think it's the best opponent now that Tulane has played in Retzloff. And again, he's only been there for like a month and a half. And then you got Mensah coming back to Tulane. Kind of a weird environment down there at Yeoman Stadium, and Duke coming off a loss. They really need this win. I think Duke needs this win to bounce back. You don't want to go into ACC play 1-2 because, when we talk about that second place ACC scenario, hell, if you recover and you're 11-1 or even 10-2 somehow and you sneak your way into the ACC title game, you never know where things go. But this is a fascinating matchup, especially the 2 quarterbacks against these 2 defenses that, especially in the secondary, 2 of the best in college football.
So, in this game, where Duke's looking to bounce back after losing to Illinois in week 2, and Tulane is looking to pad their playoff resume right now with a win over a Power 4 opponent, who will win in the Darian Mensah Bowl?
I'm going back to the well. I'm gonna do it again. I did it last week in a home game. Illinois responded. Props to you. I'm going to go back to the well. I'm going to take Duke, and I think once again I'm going to try this again. I think Manny Diaz is going to tell this team, listen, We make all those mistakes. We can't. You have 5 turnovers. You can't win. You just can't win ball games. But I'm going to trust Chandler Rivers in the secondary. I'm going to trust Manny Diaz in the blitz packages. Tulane, if they're going to win this game, it's just the other way around. Run the football behind this offensive line and shorten. And I will say this: Duke's run defense, I thought, was awesome last week. I thought they were really good. I thought they shut down Illinois on the ground. They made Altmaier beat them. If they play in run defense as good as they did last week, got a lot of faith in Duke's defense, and then you just have to force Retzloff into a couple of mistakes. And if you're Mensa, just don't force it. This is a good secondary. Don't force it. Even though you might want your revenge, let the revenge happen on the scoreboard. Don't try to light them up when you shouldn't. I'm taking Duke 23-20. I think these two defenses really get after it, but I think Duke escapes this one with a win.
I also have Duke winning this one 31-30. I think they'll bounce back from their week 2 loss to Illinois. I don't think the final score – the final score is 45-19. And, yeah, credit to Illinois for winning that ball game. But also, Duke messed up a lot in that ball game, too. It should have been a lot closer than that. I think Duke will bounce back this week and play better against Tulane. And I think Duke will win this game 31-30. I think Darian Mensah will take down his former school and his former stadium, too. I think Duke will get the win over Tulane.
Quick stat, I just wanted to see it real quick with what was the Illinois' final rushing count in this game? Eventually, it was 38 for 152, which is not particularly efficient. I mean, you're talking a flat 4 yards per carry, so it got away from him maybe a little bit late when Illinois was just running the football, but I really thought for most of that game, Duke was really good in run defense. That's going to be a big factor again.
Absolutely, yeah. All right.